another episode of Minutes with M&M. I'm Mena, this is Miss M, and we're excited to have you here. If you haven't watched us before, we talk about different TV shows, storylines, things that we think should have happened, and things that definitely should not have happened. This week, we're going to be talking about the AfterParty, which just finished season 2 like 2 days ago. It's a pretty funny show. It gets no love because Apple does absolutely no marketing. So we're just going to talk about season 2, what our thoughts are. If you watched our 2022 wrap up, you would have seen that Miss Anna actually named season 1 as one of her favorite shows of last year. So watch that as well if you're interested. And yeah, let's get into it. What are your general thoughts?
It's no longer my favorite, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I didn't hate the season. It's just that kind of thing where the first one is great. It's kind of how I felt about Knives Out versus Glass Onion.
Really?
Both of them were good, but I just kind of preferred the first one.
Really?
Because it was more, I think maybe just the originality of
I really liked Glass Onion way more than Knives Out. I feel like I watched Knives Out and everybody loved it and I was like, okay.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'm sentimental. So the first time I see something, I'm like, wow, this is great. The second time I'm like, it's great, but it's not the first one. And that's how I feel about everything.
I'm screaming. I love that. I'm going to try and remember that next time we talk about something and you like the second one more.
Okay, fine. I liked High School Musical 2 better than the first one. Let me just throw it out there.
I like that you know yourself. Okay, but for the AfterParty, I definitely started the season a bit hesitant. I didn't enjoy the first 3 episodes, but then after that, I think it got better. It kind of got into its stride. It's one of those things where the premise is we're trying to figure out who a murderer is, and it's, you know what, Knives Out was a great example. It's a whodunit murder mystery, but you don't want to be too repetitive. Everyone can be a suspect, so it's hard. But I definitely got into the groove of it. It was still pretty funny. I do think that season 1 had better genres than season 2, but they didn't know they were going to get renewed after season 1, so they did all the best ones. You did rom-coms, horror, action, you do all the basic ones, and then for season 2, they had to be more creative. But some of them were really smart. I really like the Wes Anderson episode. I'm like, this feels like a Wes Anderson movie, and it's okay.
If you say so. I just feel like if you're going to make a show that's 10 episodes, maybe more than 5 should be good. No, I'm not saying everything was good, but there were some people's episodes where I was a little bit bored.
Content or structure?
Both.
Oh, like who?
Isabel, the only thing that made hers interesting is that it was at the end and she was kind of piecing together the last missing part. I can't remember the first 3 episodes. So
the first episode is Aniq arriving, and it's a normal episode because the wedding happens, someone ends up dead. The second episode is the bride, and she's old-timey, and I think there's a joke where he's he wants to dance, but they're talking in slang, but it's fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little funny. I think maybe it's the story. The story is it was a little bit basic for me. It was just overplayed. Someone died at a wedding.
I mean, drama!
Yes, but maybe it's the acting, or maybe it's the actor, but I wasn't connecting with the person who died or the characters they were trying to build for me. It was fun, but I found season 1 funnier.
That's fair. I think there were smaller jokes throughout the second season that were really amazing to me, just little things that they did that I was this is so funny. That being said, in case you haven't watched season 2 where you're watching us, the premise of season 2 is that there's a wedding, the groom is found dead the next day. Who did it? It could be anyone. It could be the bride, his mom, his best friend, his sister, other guests at the wedding. And I personally really like the actor that plays the groom, because all I could think of was Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And he cracked me up in every single episode. He just would say something so absurd, and I'm like, yeah, this is hilarious. Turns out who did it is it's someone who didn't mean to. Basically, it's they do the whole thing where it was an accident. They didn't mean to kill him. They were trying to kill someone else. But it was just so out of left field. I didn't hate it. I thought it was kind of funny. And there was this whole thing where there are 2 brothers, but they keep referring to themselves as half brothers. And I treated you as a full brother, which is just, who says that? But everything else was just a little bit over the top. Isabel was just weird as hell. But I liked her episode because then we're like, oh, she's not being mean. She's just being gaslit and she's tired.
I guess so. Maybe it was a little bit overdone for me. I was like, okay, I get the point.
So let's talk about the two main characters. Well, I guess three, but I'm focusing on Aniq and Detective Danner. Those were kind of like our detectives in season 1, and now they're the detectives for season 2. I feel like it was realistic how they brought Detective Danner back into it, and like they were just like, yeah, we're doing this again. It didn't feel like this is so unrealistic, even though it's a very unrealistic situation.
I don't know, because why am I obliged to come in and tell you you're just a random person that this other random person who's not really part of the family yet brought in and is like, yeah, this detective helped me before. No, let's wait for the real police or call the real police. But everybody came in. I mean, the story has to move forward.
I'm
but
screaming.
her own narration.
Oh, the one with Michael Ealy?
It was hilarious.
It killed. First of all, he is so beautiful, and glad that they brought him in. And I died at their sex scene. But yeah, I was like, this is so random. You're trying to find a pyromaniac. You're sleeping with a sexy therapist. You've lost your job. Sure, Detective Danner, why not? But Michael Ealy, very pretty. That's another side note. I feel like they have a lot of famous people in this show randomly appearing. Cutting right to the end, like we had Keke Palmer, we had, Daniel Radcliffe's face. I'm like, that's impressive. I don't know if it's gonna be season 3 because the way it ended was it was closed enough. So if there isn't a season 3, it's not a cliffhanger, but if there's a season 3, it's possible.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's how season 1 ended as well. Like, it could have just been done. I feel like they know they aren't like a mega blockbuster show, and at any point in time, Apple can be like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Are there any characters or actors that you didn't enjoy? Because I'm just gonna say it now, I did not enjoy Grace and Zoe's dad.
Why?
I feel like he constantly plays a character like this, and I'm just generally never entertained by it.
That's fair. I feel the same way about the ex.
Oh my god, yeah, I didn't enjoy him.
He also plays very similar characters, and it's supposed to be so funny. Like, when he was drinking the poison, I was like, okay. I don't know what you want. Like, die if you want to die. Like,
Die if you want to die.
Like, what do you want me to do?
I really liked Edgar's sister, actually. Like, she wasn't like super focused on, but like her random quirkiness where she's like, I'm just so odd in the background. I enjoyed it.
You know whose episodes I loved? The Business Partner. I loved his episodes so much because that gave me a real glimpse into who the groom was.
You're right. I think his episode was my favorite in terms of like showing who Edgar was as a person. Because we'd already seen a couple of episodes like, oh, he's mean or he's really nice. But it's just like he's a cutthroat businessman, and yeah, he might be mildly autistic, but he's still a bad guy.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Even like when he was trying to get the password, the horse's name, I was like, please tell him this is what.
I was shook when he wasn't trying to steal the money. I was so sure that he was trying to steal money from him.
Yeah.
So when it's just like, oh, I wanted my card back. And then when I thought that Edgar rips his card, I'm like, wow, you are a monster. So like him like lying to businesses and that didn't do anything to me. But him ripping that baseball card, I'm like, this is such a horrible thing to do to your friend. Especially because he was punishing him for like hedging the bets. And I'm just like, it was just 20%. Yeah. What if your business had failed and you lost all your money? But he was willing to drug and gaslight his mother to steal from her. So he's just a terrible person. Horrible. There was a part in one of the episodes where Grace was like, oh, I can't believe I almost married him. And they're like, you did marry him. And I died because the way my mind would erase that half. No, I didn't marry him. You mentioned this in one of our conversations about how you like the Vow Box. Would you have a Vow Box at your own wedding?
I just feel like it's ugly. So maybe if they make like a nice transparent one that had like flowers around but you can still see, yeah, why not?
I love the social awkwardness of not wanting people to hear you say your vows, because why do we have to get so deep in front of people? Like, I appreciate that he was like, I'm gonna hide my face.
Exactly. Maybe I'll say my real vows
somewhere else.
And then ChatGPT can help me write the one that I would say in front.
I guess something that was kind of a big precedent the whole season was Zoe and Grace's family. So their mom, their dad, their funkle. I didn't really get their family. And I feel
What
like
do you mean?
I just feel like everybody was really, really chill about the Funko sleeping with their mom. Everyone's like, oh yeah, okay, we've heard it. And like, I feel like that would be shocking news.
Yeah, I get you. I think that's what was missing. I didn't feel enough depth. I don't want to sound too deep.
Ooh.
But when I saw the business partner story, I did, like, you could tell how pained he was. And I was looking forward to something like, you know, your mom just told you this big secret, nothing. Your the person who slept with your wife just showed up at the wedding, and like something more.
I know they tried a little bit with Zoe's dad's episode. First of all, I love that they had a found footage episode and just like different clips, because we got a perspective that was actually reality this time.
Yeah.
So we like not of everything, but you actually see like, okay, this is what the car crash with Aniq was like versus his dramatized version of it. That being said, I really wish we saw more about how it, like, your brother slept with your wife. Like little moments of sad face don't really encapsulate the kind of drama that must have been. Because even when he finds out, he just kicks his brother out of his house and then goes back to bed with his wife that night. Your wife doesn't like you. But it was funny when they had that episode and like they were having moments like, no, you guys are both in sync. I love it. It's like, they're fucking stop.
No, that killed me so much. Like, it was like, pass me the toothpick. Oh, I'm like, he's just there, like, and both of them were looking at him like, oh my god, like he's gonna find out, and he's like, oh, you guys are so in sync.
Because even when he's like, oh, I bought you a present, oh, I can't put it on. Okay, you put it on for her. They're eye fucking right now. Your marriage is in danger.
You know, that was comedy. That was actually comedy.
Yeah, you know, the beginning of the episode actually cracked me up when he was in the army van, and then the explosion happened. He's like, where's his foot? I'm like, what does this mean? It was a fun season, and I think they brought a lot of like hijinks and tried to do something different, and the stakes are different as well, because in the original season you're like, you know, Aniq didn't do it and you're rooting for Aniq. In this season I'm like, I don't really care if Grace did it or not, but I guess I want to know who did it, so I'm less concerned about like the wrong person being put in trouble, because I don't know, I wasn't that pushed by Grace. I'm like, if you go to jail, you go to jail.
Yeah, I need to be rooting for someone, and I wasn't really rooting for anyone here. It was just, I don't really care who did it. Like, I just want to find out who did it. Like, I don't really care whether it was Grace or Zoe, or I don't really care.
Yeah, and maybe it's because I just assumed that they would get the right person as well. So with season 1, like, I didn't know if there was going to be another season or anything like that. Like, there's always a possibility that, like, oh, we found out who did it, but Aniq is still going to go to jail.
Yeah.
With this season, I just assumed, like, whoever didn't do it is not good. Like, they're going to catch the real killer. So if there is a season 3, maybe that'll be the plot twist that they won't get the person.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know if I want a season 3. If there is a season 3, I'll watch it, but I'm good either way.
I'm open to it, you know. I feel like shows need time to land, and not everything will be 100%, and so let's see.
You know what? That's facts. Plus, Apple's just not promoting it. Like, maybe if they promoted it and there were more fans, they would listen to more feedback and the show would develop organically in a better way. But they're not doing that. I don't know, Apple. There's a strike though.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I like the actor that plays Aniq. I want him to have opportunities. So if this is a chance for him to do great, I feel like I don't give Zoe enough flowers. But I'm just kind of mad on Zoe as a character.
Really?
Yeah, like this season really annoyed me. Like, I know it's her sister and I know, like, obviously, but it just, babes, you're not really focusing on what's going on right here.
Okay, the way she was fighting with the dog. No, she had her moments. She had her moments. But they gave her a lot more in the first season. I loved her episode. It was a cartoon, it was animation, like, they just like randomly mentioned the split personality, like, you know, the inner rage, but I saw it more in season 1 with the cartoon. So yeah, I think there was just something off about the season for me. Like you said, maybe they just ran out of like genres. Like, I actually expected them to repeat the same ones, but maybe for different people, but I don't know.
Actually, that's something that concerned me a little bit if there's a season 3. So like, even this, like I said, there are a couple of genres that they did that I really enjoyed. I'm scared they're gonna do like, there were even a couple of seasons that I hated. I hate like noir. So this whole black and white, oh, I'm a detective trying to find my little lady. No, I hate it. And I hate that I have to watch it like the 30 minutes of that. So that's my fear if there's another season. What if the whole season is genres that I hate?
Yeah, I mean, how many genres can there really be?
Babes, there's a lot, so.
And there was no musical this season. Something was missing.
You said the music would have saved it.
Yeah.
You know what? It's also a wedding. You could have done love songs, maybe.
I don't know. Just something off.
who knows? We're not the writers, but if you want us to be, again, we're always available. I keep pushing us out there because one day we might be at the Grammys or the Oscars or the Emmys and be like, we started off on YouTube and then somebody, Oprah, saw our video and now look at us, successful.
I love that you have big dreams.
I have to have big dreams. I have to. Anyway, guys, what do you think? Did you enjoy the season of the After Party? Were you surprised by who the killer was? Were you surprised?
No.
Do you want there to be another season? What did you enjoy? And if there's another season, who do you want to see? Because they actually brought a couple of people from the last season in like small moments. Like the killer, we saw him in jail. The guy whose name everybody forgot was like karaoke. So I think that was a nice way to be like, people still exist in this universe.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are our thoughts. We liked it. It was a good season. Not great promotion, but still a solid comedy.
Yeah. So if you're bored,
Yeah.
and you're interested, you can give it a try. Honestly, like Apple TV, they have like some good shows that are just not like being promoted at all. And yeah, maybe if you watch it,
They'll promote it more.
exactly, and there'll be a season 3. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.